I'm Michael Miller with Miller Premier Investment Planning, where we help you dream it, plan it, and do it. Today I'm going to teach you how to avoid three of the worst behavioral mistakes investors can make. It's something that I've seen that's been the big differentiator between super successful investors over the years and then the ones who don't fare so well. We're going to learn how to master these versus them mastering you, and you will dramatically increase your results as a result of doing these things. You'll have bigger success, and it'll save you valuable time and money going forward. But before I jump into that, you may have noticed something a little different about me today. That's right, I'm sporting a beard. I recently took an assessment as I'm continually looking to grow and improve, and I learned from the assessment that I have a personality trait, drum roll, I am considered the professor. I have that characteristic about me. It makes perfect sense to me, as I have a passion and a drive to not only improve the financial lives of the folks that are entrusted to me, but I also want them to understand the why behind everything that I do, as I believe that sets them up for success down the road. It makes them understand why everything is done the way it's done, and I believe that leads to much better outcomes, which is a good segue into what we're covering today. The big thing that we've learned is over 25 years is that people are complicated. As human beings, we're complicated. We're irrational beings. And we've learned that our mindset and our behaviors can have massive impact on the financial outcomes. Our brains are hardwired, and psychological biases that are part of that can hurt us as investors, especially right now when we're experiencing an economic crisis and volatile markets. Here are the three biggies as far as biases go, and I'm going to also tell you what you can do about each of them. The first one is what we call an action bias. And action biases, the best way is to explain it is the action part of our brains. It's primed for action. It's the emotional part of our brains. It's that part of our brain that makes us feel in control, especially in uncertain times. It's that fight or flight instinct to take some type of action. We know we need to do something, and just anything, right? And basically, it's great. That part of our brain is awesome when it comes to running away from a man-eating tiger, for example. But it's not so great when it comes to investing. In fact, it leads to horrible results. And there's a whole lot of great research that confirms this time and time again. So what's the solution to action bias? The solution's very simple, actually. You just got to train your brain to do it when you feel that emotional response coming on, and it's stop, challenge, and choose. It's the same thing I use to help me lose 80 pounds of weight. The first thing you do is you fight that action bias by taking time to engage the rational part of your brain and getting advice before making a move. Many people think that my biggest job is investment and security selection, asset allocation planning. You can name off a whole list of tasks that are required for my job. And while those things are important, I would tell you that my biggest and most important job is preventing clients from making what I call the big mistakes. These are the ones that, especially with my clients being retirees or pre-retirees, they may not have time to ever come back from those. So that's my biggest job and my biggest challenge. So that's action bias. That's number one. Number two is recency bias. We tend to remember recent events more clearly. So we give them more weight when making decisions than past or potential future events. That's just how we're wired. This is also what leads to instant gratification choices that sabotage our long-term goals. For example, and this is hitting my toes really hard right now, grabbing that donut because it tastes so good when we know we'll regret it later. You know, it sabotages that goal that I had to losing weight. Tastes great right now, but boy, really sabotages my progress toward my goal. May even add additional weight on me over time. The compound effect of making those what we consider small, insignificant choices over time, when they compound, the results are dramatic. You might not notice that donut tomorrow, but when you add up all the donuts and all those small choices over a long period of time, the difference can be huge. And when it comes to compounding your money and the results that you get, that's dramatically significant. And I've seen it time and time again. That is where I was 2 years ago with 80 plus pounds of weight on me. It's no different when it comes to managing your finances or your investments. So while the market losses hurt, we can't let them derail our goals and keep us on the sidelines. So what is the solution to the recency effect? I know 100% that having a battle-tested plan in place and sticking to it is the solution. Proper battle testing takes into account the worst of the markets so that you're prepared for what we're going through right now ahead of time. If you don't have a battle-tested plan, get one. I believe so strongly in this that I won't take on a client without having done this first. It requires extra work for myself, 20 to 40 hours in fact. And yeah, it does create some extra work for a new client when they're coming aboard. But I've turned people away who weren't willing to do this. This is how strongly I believe in it. Investing without one is like trying to drive somewhere you've never been without a map. It's not going to end well. It'll only result in a lot of wasted time, gas, and lead to frustration. And even worse, you could possibly give up completely on where it was you were trying to get to. And in this case, it's our goals. So that's recency bias. That was number 2. Number 3, and this is Warren Buffett's favorite, it's confirmation bias. We love being right and we hate being wrong. So much so that our brains trick us by being more receptive to the information that confirms what we already believe and resistant to conflicting evidence. You can counteract this by getting an outside perspective and creating systems. Key here. I've learned this from coaching. Creating systems to make logical decisions. Buffett's has Charlie Munger. That's part of his system framework to talk ideas with, and basically has him there at his side to help him make the decisions and check his decisions to make sure that there's no logical maladies or traps there. We all need accountability partners, and my clients will confirm that I am not an order taker. They'll tell you that. If they're about to do something that can hurt them, I'm going to let them know. I mean, it could be from keeping them from chasing some hot stock that they heard about at a cocktail party, to jumping into something without looking at how that affects their plan and their overall picture. That's another great perk of my job, and it's actually one I cherish because it is a big challenge, but that's what they got me for. That's what they pay me for. And over the years, they've seen the value in that and have let me know how much they appreciate it, and that means a lot to me. The truth is, we all have biases, even professionals. I have biases. My brain's no different from yours. We've got that emotional part of our brain. We've got what I've heard called the Yoda brain, the sage brain. That's the rational part. It tells you, hey, you should only buy low and sell high. And then an emotional brain's like, hey, I got to do something, which we just learned earlier, the action bias. And, usually that's something as selling low. You're doing the opposite of what your rational brain just told you, right? Um, so we're all prone to that, and the key is having the proper systems and people in place to keep us from falling into those traps or the big mistakes that's my job to keep people from making. But by learning about how our brains work, we can leverage our behavior and create systems that help us remove the bias and create better financial outcomes. That's why understanding the behavioral side of money and investing is so important. If you have questions about what I've discussed with you or you'd like to speak with me personally, please use the form uh, below to send me a message. I'm here for you. And this is going out to everyone. So if you'd like to add some comments, please feel free to do so. Love to hear your thoughts on this. I hope you found it helpful. If so, please let me know that too. And if you like it, make sure you hit that like button if it's on social media that you're watching this. Take care and have a blessed day.